physics video. Yeah, so I did buy the domain name DraftPhysics.com. Couldn't get DraftScience, but you know, close enough. So anyway, you gotta do comments. You know, I guess some is better than nothing, but you know, they're just so stupid. So these are comments on the Inmendum channel, and so then we'll move on to the comments of the other one. Anyway, so what's your problem with the double slit experiment? I mean, I just can't believe you make a video and somebody can ask a question that's stupid. Yeah, sorry, goodbye. Fuck you. I mean, I've been over it so many times. I fail to see what you guys are against Zunstyle. Who the fuck cares? Thank you. Why are you such an angry guy? Oh, because I live on a planet of idiots. Yeah, smart people don't like living in idiocracy, and that's why I'm angry, because you're an idiot, fucker. Yeah, I brought up Huygens. At 36 minutes you mentioned Huygens' principle and apparently no understanding of it, and then add that it certainly doesn't happen with a water wave. Yes, it does. No, it doesn't. So you can just keep saying it does. It doesn't. Do a single slit with a water wave. That is, have the slit as wide as the frequency of the waves, and you will not get anything close to the pattern you get with light. No way. Won't happen, asshole. So you can make up your bullshit all you want, but it won't fucking happen. So it only works with double slit, okay? It only works, water only works with a double slit. You see, you shithead? It doesn't work with one slit. Water isn't a good comparison. That's why they don't use it, because it's not a good comparison. You stupid cunt. Especially as you make the slit wider and wider. So as you make the as you make it wider in a water tank, wave tank, you'll get less and less pattern, not more and more pattern. Retard. And the exact opposite is true in the single slit experiment. Obviously you can't go too wide because then you get nothing. But as long as you keep the slit something over a wavelength without it going to two wavelengths, you're going to get lots of diffraction. So let's just do Huygens one more time, just for the people who don't understand. It's just a simple principle, right? You have a wave, you know, a curve, and another curve. And Huygens is just saying there's an infinite number of little microwaves inside each wave, and they all peak at the next wave front. So it just invents an infinite number of fake little waves that all peak at the next wave's wavefront. Duh. They call this a principle. It's not a principle. It's just a made-up mathematical invention. It has nothing to do with reality. There are not a million little waves making the next wavefront. It's completely synthetic. It has nothing to do with reality. Calling it a principle is idiotic because it's not anything. It's a pile of canardy shit. Okay, anyway. Apparently no understanding of it, and then add that it certainly doesn't happen with water waves. It doesn't happen with any kind of waves. Huygens doesn't happen. It's not a real event, you idiot. You're so fucking stupid. Yes, it does. That is, diffraction happens with water waves. Well, again, you can say that a single opening with water waves has diffraction. It doesn't. It has a tiny bit of scatter at the two ends where the wave starts to fall apart because of the friction with the surface. So it really depends on how thick your opening is. So the thinner your opening, the less effect you're going to have with water waves, you fucking cunt. Let's get this straight once and for all. Watch the example video. I've already seen all the videos. I'm not doing it. Now we know it happens with waves. Again, that's a double slit, so it doesn't have anything to do with anything real, so fuck you. Water waves are probably one of the first examples. No, they're not. It also happens with light. No, it doesn't. So the interference pattern you can get with one slit experiment are evidence of the wave nature of light. Well, again, you can keep saying it is, and it's not. So you're going to look stupid in the end. So what can I say? You're an idiot. Physicists do not deny or tries to hide this. Well, yes, they do, and I've already proven that by playing their videos, okay? They never talk about single slit diffraction. They always pretend that there's no diffraction with one slit. They just pretend, oh, look, the bullets just go straight through and make a blob on the other side. That's what they always fucking do, and they never point out the fact that the wider you make the slit, the more diffraction you'll get. They always show the same little tiny little lumpy pattern because they're using a slit 1/2, essentially half the opening size that they use in the 2-slit experiment. So it's just all a canard. The whole fucking thing's a big fat fucking lie. Contrary to what you seem to be suggesting, I'm not just suggesting, I'm making the overt accusation that the whole thing is a pile of shit, and they keep engineering it to look like it's something when it's nothing. And if they told the fucking goddamn truth, it would be obvious that all this shit they're talking wouldn't make any sense. All their Copenhagen crap and their multiverses and all that shit wouldn't make too much sense when they showed the people that they're trying to fool that, well, look, it kind of does the same thing with one slit. So yeah, there's no real this conversation about what slit it went through is kind of silly, because the same pattern shows up with one slit. I mean, it's kind of just such a grotesquely obvious circumstance that it's kind of silly talking about what slit did the photon go through when the same exact motherfucking pattern shows up with a single slit. You want to keep telling me that's not a lie? It's a fucking lie. Anyway. It's not just water and light, though. The issue is addressed in Huygens' principle is, well, again, there's no principle. Huygens is just a pile of shit made up by some guy named Huygens that has nothing to do with anything called reality. There's no infinite number of waves being created by a wave. That's not happening, fuckhead. Why is there this kind of interference pattern when waves pass through a single slit? It's not an interference pattern, it's a diffraction pattern, and I've already explained why it exists. It exists because matter doesn't have some flat fucking surface, jackass. Matter is atoms and spins and energies, and it has electrons, and there's a field around all matter, and it's fucking light interacting with the particles that are in the field. Have you seen field lines around a magnet? Have you seen static electricity? Have you seen these fucking things? Well, these things are real fucking things, and the light's traveling through the goddamn particles that make up those things, and it's being diffracted, you motherfucker. Any kind of waves. It's a mathematical problem. Well, that's the whole goddamn problem, is that you fucking this isn't fucking mathematics, it's mathematics. You know, this is just fucking bullshit, okay? That's the whole problem with physics now, is you've gotten so lost in your fucking mathematical formulas that you don't realize that if you make a mistake with those formulas, that model turns into shit. It's a shitty model, especially when you create fake mathematical formulas like Huygens. Not a physics problem. I just love that. It's a mathematical problem, not a physics problem. I mean, yeah, right. Physics isn't about physics. Fuck you. The answer Huygens provides is that each point of the wave that gets through the slit can be treated as a point source. Well, again, yes, each point. What is a point in a wave of light, you fucking cunt? That is just so fucking idiotic. You jackasses have turned everything into nothing. How can you have a fucking point and a wave on a photon, you stupid shit? I mean, you're denying the existence of the photon. You create a synthetic wave, and now you say there's an infinite number of little synthetic points on the synthetic wave. You can't see how this is convoluted goddamn bullshit? Anyway, treat it as a point source of a new wave. And all of these waves then interfere with one another. Well, they don't all interfere with each other. Some of them don't interfere with each other. That's the whole fucking point. And it's only the ones that are exact mathematical fractions of distance that are the ones interfering with each other. So it's very convenient that it's always on the half point or the quarter point or the third point. This, however, is just a heuristic. It is about all that is told to students at an early stage because the real reason that this kind of interference can be derived as a logical consequence of the first principles expressed in the wave equation. Well, again, it's not evidence in a wave created in water, so obviously the wave equation doesn't create anything called diffraction with a single opening, so you're kind of retarded. It's far more complex. No, you're far stupider than you actually realize. Huygens' principle are something close enough to it for practical use. Again, something close to the synthetic, fake, non-existent mini waves that don't really exist. Yeah, what's close to that? Bugs Bunny, Donald Duck, Daffy Duck, Mickey Mouse can be derived from the wave equation. Take a quick look at, no, fuck you. In Wicked, no, fuck you. Unfortunately, this stuff is rather complex, but, well, That is what science is like outside popular gee whiz books. Yo, gee whiz, you people are just so full of goddamn fucking shit, okay? All I have to do is show the single slit diffraction pattern, okay, with an opening wider than one of the slits in the double slit experiment. Again, if you take the opening as the total open space in the double slit experiment, create a single slit of that fucking width, you'll get a diffraction pattern that is identical to the two slit diffraction pattern, with the single exception that the central maxima will be twice as big and maybe 4 times brighter. But that's it. So, fuck you. Anyway, what in God? Oh, so it's Justin, cunt fuck. What in God's name does gravitational location mean? Well, I guess it probably means in what location you are in a gravitational field, you fucking idiot. Gee, that was a tough one. Man, I hate these fucking cunts. Molly Hugh, blah blah blah, Ludite, who the fuck cares? Kevin, who cares? Radio, fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck that. Let's see. I don't have a physics badge. Okay, that's, these guys generally agrees with me. Alright, so the rest of these guys are just asshole comments, right? Maybe YouTube should put a warning on your videos that it's really rotten science. Well, again, I would love that, okay? I'd love for physicists to say it was rotten science, okay? To say there's errors in my paper. So I'm perfectly willing to have that done. I love the scrutiny, all right? So, again, just ignore the crime I've pointed out and try to make me a criminal, right? That's what low-life motherfucking cunts you people are. You know, there's obviously a bad physics video out there, and I point out that it's really kind of bad on physicists if they just sit there and say, okay, let's let our science be slandered. So if the #1 evolution video on YouTube was some obscene, stupid pile of shit talking about giraffes thinking and wishing they could stretch their necks or something, people like Richard Dawkins and all the rest of those people should say, fine, it's okay with me. I don't mind that it's a complete lie, that it completely misrepresents our science. That's all okay. I don't think that's okay. I think if these people had any fucking integrity or any devotion to their science, they would protect it from liars. They'd say, oh, I don't want a bunch of liars out there pretending this is physics. Dr. Quantum is a shitty scientist. All right? The science is shit, and the physicists should do something to clean it up. If the physicists do not agree with this video, well, again, I would love for them to say why they don't agree with it. Just like I'd like them to point out that the Dr. Quantum video doesn't match the experimental evidence, that certain experiments have never been conducted, that these conclusions have nothing to do with anything physics wants to be slandered by. And if they can say that about my paper, then fine. But I don't think they can, because I'm not committing any fraud. I'm not saying anything about what science says and in some way distorting what they've said or perverting what they've said. So I'm not a liar, you motherfucking cunt. So I don't mind having the standard applied to me, fucker. No, this isn't an accurate description of our reality. Like I said, I don't mind the critique as long as the critique comes with some kind of argument why this fails, as an example. Why this can't possibly be true. What do you think? Oh, it's your theory, so it doesn't need to be held to any standards. Again, I want it to be held to a standard. What standard have you held it to? You don't like me, therefore you talk shit about me, you motherfucking cunt, right? That's the extent of your fucking cunt standard, asswipe. God. You don't want the theory mocked or thrown out, yet you've thrown out hundreds of years of observational evidence in favor of your theory. Again, what? Observational evidence? Hundreds of years of observational evidence? What did I throw out? I went to the goddamn lensing pictures. I'm showing you the picture of a galaxy. I'm saying to you quite obviously, this isn't what Einstein described. That's a fact. Einstein would have never suggested you could have gravitational lensing in a location that has 0.0004 meters per second gravity. His whole point was that no, you need 70 meters per second gravity to have lensing. And it's still going to be weak lensing even in 70 meters per second gravity, you motherfucking cunt. You need intense gravity to bend light. Light's traveling really fast, you fucking idiot. You can't goddamn bend it unless you have really strong gravity. You can't think that clearly. You can't figure that out in your fucking head. That in the middle of a galaxy somewhere, there's no way there can be 70 meters per second gravity, you stupid fuck. Because that thing would be traveling the speed of light in 26 fucking days. So they invent dark matter to fill a hole, and then but they don't explain how the dark matter doesn't spread, how it just stays right there, it just stays there. It's gravitationally influenced. Okay, it doesn't reflect light, and it's transparent to everything, and it's not real matter, but somehow it's gravitational, except it's not moved by gravity. I mean, fuck you. Fuck you in this bullshit. Do a tiny bit of common sense and realize I haven't slandered physics because I've pointed out the fact that they're not even obeying their own motherfucking cunt math, for Christ's sakes. Jesus, you're such an unfair weasel of a prick. Alright, observational evidence favor your theory, which is nothing more than a few photographs and drawings on a website. Come on. Well, again, what was Einstein? What did Einstein give you? Where is your picture of bent space, fucker? Where have you shown me time bending? Where have any of this been proven or demonstrated with any kind of real evidence, shithead? Oh yeah, that's right, it doesn't fucking exist. And my explanation of time dilation is a hell of a lot more rational than some silly notion that time obeys some sort of bending that you did in gravity or something. It's just idiotic. Yes, there's a relationship between velocity and time dilation, and there's a relationship between a velocity and the acceleration you acquire in gravity. That's the relationship, but that proves my theory, you stupid shit. Oh, God. So irritating. Alright, I don't think there's any more here. Alright, so I'll cut you a break and I'll come back. I'm going to switch channels. Alright, I'm back. Oh, cigarette. Yeah, they're good. Anyway, so it's this stupid Justin guy. So he's back to doing this shit again. So he says, I'm sorry, right? Didn't he say I'm sorry? Oh, yeah, well, forget that, right? Your explanations are too far vague to be either evidenced or counter-evidenced. Alright, this is your theory then. Okay, I came up with a fake theory. Alright, that does gravity, photons, magnetism, inertia, time dilation. It fits all of those things and kind of just sews them all up into one thing. I mean, just makes it quite clear how they're all connected. And you're saying that what's the right way to say this? That you can't come up with any reason why that construct, right, that matches all these things, that explains all of them, accounts for all of them, is bullshit. It's so, and it's because it's so complex, because it creates a mechanism that can't be disproven. Like, I'm arguing that it's the super glue man, and the super glue man jumps from here to there and he does all this stuff, and when something time dilates, the super glue man is the one holding the clock handles, and then the super glue man is like pushing the earth, and then the super glue man is actually smashing the magnets together. And so so something complex like the super glue man, yeah, I could see how, okay, yeah, you couldn't really argue with the super glue man as an explanation, right? Because you can't disprove his existence. That's like disproving the existence of a leprechaun. I mean, you can prove that human beings make up bullshit, but you can't really prove that that particular piece of bullshit is bullshit. But I gave you something simpler. Not something more complex. No bent anything, no crooked this, none of that shit. I gave you something dirt fucking simple as a mechanism. It has no magic powers whatsoever. It's as simple as you can. It really is as simple as you can get. I don't think you're going to come up with. I don't think they're ever going to come up with something simpler, because this is the simple truth. This is the simple answer. I mean, 3 fucking simple little properties, and none of them are magical. Okay. Whatever. I just think I should get a trophy. I came up with a Occam Razor's simpler answer than Einstein's answer, and it unifies everything, unlike Einstein. So I unify everything with a simpler explanation. Even if I'm wrong, that should be worth something. Obviously, I don't think I'm wrong. The entire body of experimental verification for hundreds of years of physics is my piece of evidence. Well, again, I'm pointing out how your evidence is a fraud, okay? If you don't want to listen, that's fine. I'm telling you gravity doesn't work the way your physicists think it works, because if they think they can look through the flat side of a galaxy, they can lens this way through a galaxy, and that they don't have to lens this way through the galaxy, then guess what? They're so fucking preposterously stupid in that they don't even understand what gravity is. Gravity is induced in bodies. You can't gravitational look, even if it wasn't. Even if my theory that gravity is induced is wrong, and even if you had regular gravity, anybody with a little bit of logic can figure out that the most gravity that the galaxy can have has to be on the plane where all the mass is. Right? The most of the mass of the galaxy is in the arms of the galaxy, from what we can see. And, that just leads you to the obvious statement, if there's so much gravity in the center, a black hole, whatever, that should be doing some lensing. Where are the pictures of that doing any lensing? But if you can't figure out that the arms of the galaxy can't possibly be lensing because there isn't sufficient gravity out there, I have no help for you. If you think that's proof of something, then you're really fucking stupid. And again, I don't even know how gravitational lensing became this important in this conversation, but I'm just saying, because it doesn't really prove anything. I mean, proving you can bend light, like I said, is kind of limited use. For my purposes, I see value in proving that it's wrong, because it just makes it sensible to say light is energy, light isn't mass, so you can't bend it. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. My functioning cell phone is another piece of evidence. Well, again, it's not evidence of anything. Your cell phone, I made radios when I was a kid. Is that evidence of something, that quantum mechanics was necessary? No. How can you just ignore this? I'm not ignoring it. I'm just saying you're exaggerating the role of this presumption of wave theory. Wave theory is not necessary. It can be understood as particle theory. And, I'm sorry, they're not even doing the math correctly. Again, Einstein would not in any way endorse gravitational lensing by the spiral arms of galaxies. That's not Einstein's math. Of course, it's not perfect as it is, as every theory evolves and develops over time. Well, again, it doesn't. Where's this evolving? Copenhagen, many worlds, dark matter, dark energy. No, I don't see it evolving anything but a religion. They're just creating gods and spooks and boogeyman and Tinkerbell. These are fantasy characters, fantasy Huygens waves. It's all made out of rubbish. Further explanations of phenomena which escaped its prior forms. Well, I don't even know what that means. Escaped its prior forms. Fuck you, stupid comment. Alright, so enough of that one. What equation do you want me to write in this paper? Right, so he wants equations. As if I'm arguing with equations. I'm arguing with their use. Again, I'm just saying that, Einstein's equations, field equations, are perfectly adequate. They're just inappropriate to apply them to photons because he's not understanding that matter has atomic weight. Light has mass, but only has mass in the direction it's moving. Okay, that's not as funny as this sounds, right? I mean, you can sort of understand this if you think about it. a school of fish only has mass, only has importance in the direction it's swimming. When it's swimming towards you, then it can affect you. It's not affecting sideways or behind it or anywhere else. All of its mass, so to speak, is in one direction, where it's going. Same thing is true with this energy thing. The mass is in its directionality. So you can understand that when light, or energy, is trapped inside of matter, trapped inside of orbits, that it has mass in every direction. That's the nature of the orbit, is that it's conserved an element of force in all directions. So now it's unidirectional mass. And gravity only affects unidirectional mass. Idiot. Or something more than one directional mass. It can't affect something that doesn't have more than one dimension of movement in it. It can't. Any equation that offers a prediction, it does affect something in multi-dimensions. It can't affect something in one dimension. Any equation that offers any prediction that differs from that prediction by the mathematical evidence, current body of theory. Current body of theory. I don't know what a current body of theory is. Without mathematics, there's nothing precise. Well, that's also a nonsense. Even Feynman would make the argument that if you have a good model, you don't need math. You just do it on the model. You just take your ruler out and measure it on the model, and you got it. So if you have a good mechanical model, you don't need the math. So that's just the truth. Mathematics is a separate way to model something. There's the physical world where you can model, you can build actual triangles and do actual measurements. Or you can do it mathematically and understand relationships mathematically in a formula. They're two different models. And if you don't understand how it's really easy to make mistakes in your mathematical formula, because it's usually an abstraction, then you're being kind of obnoxious. Without mathematics, there's nothing precise. Well, again, it's not very. Mathematics isn't very precise because it creates obvious. You can make obvious mistakes, and I would argue that it's like Einstein's bent space. There's obvious mistakes, and that there's no limit on how much space you can bend and how much fluid you can pull out of the universe. And your theory will fail and make any predictions. Well, again, I've already made my predictions in the sense that I predict that lensing will be found to be a fraud. I predicted that the two-slit experiment will be realized to be a fraud. And the most, I think the most meaningful prediction is that they're miscalculating the extent of time dilation, and that they've got redshift. They misunderstand redshift. So those are going to be important ones. You say the particle will go this way. How fast? Oh, that's just so stupid. Look, I wrote the three things down. You can't read three fucking premises. Is that your problem? I mean, they're in bold. You know, they move in constant movement in straight lines. They're shaped taller than they are wide. When they hit each other, they exchange. Oh, that's right. I took out the speed of light thing. Just because it's not relevant. It takes a moment of time, is what I said. But they're moving the speed of light in a vacuum of space. It gets complicated because technically the interactions could be the thing that's taking time, and so really all you're talking about is the density of interactions. So if you have more dense interactions, then you'll take more time, but it's not a subject I really want to get into, so I don't think it's necessary. But obviously the bits, when I call them photons, are moving the speed of light. That was one of the premises, and the photons is, yes, they're moving the speed of light. Alright, you say the particle will go this way. How fast? With what acceleration? Again, there's no acceleration. They move the same speed forever and ever and ever and ever. They don't move any other speed. There is no such thing as acceleration. They have a permanent velocity. Photons have a permanent velocity. They don't live. They don't die. They just go on forever and ever and ever and ever, just bouncing around, going from here to there 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 to there. That's it. Captured inside of a piece of matter for a while, then they fly out and get captured in another piece. My point is that your paper lacks rigor and precision. Well, that's just an accusation, an empty accusation. It has plenty of rigor and precision in terms of it has enough of that for the purpose of the paper, which is merely to introduce the idea that here's a better explanation than bent motherfucking cunt space. And again, what precision or rigor was in Einstein's papers? There was none. He described a convergence everybody already knew existed, and has made claims about time being dilated by the same convergence. And again, the argument is of course, there's a relationship between velocity, acceleration, and time dilation. Yes. But it's not it's not because something got bent, it's because metabolism has to slow down. You can't go two ways at once. If I run sideways, I can't go forward at the same speed, and likewise I can't do sideways stuff if I have to go forward. If my matter's doing something and I force it to do something extra, the only place it can get the time from is the stuff it's doing now. It has to do less of the stuff it's doing right this second if I force it to go walk to the store and back. You can't figure that out? That if you're doing something and then you try to do something else at the same fucking time, that isn't going to work? That you're going to have to multitask, which means you're going to have to take time away from the thing you're doing to do this other thing? That's too complex a fucking goddamn theory? Anyway. My point is your paper on every level. Well, again, that's just you saying so, okay? And again, what was the rigor by comparison to whose theory? Comparison to the rigor of string theory? Comparison to the rigor of Copenhagen? Comparison to the rigor of multiverse? Comparison to the rigor of dark matter? Comparison to the rigor of dark energy? Comparison to the rigor of, again, Einstein's original papers? Fuck you, cunt! How can you be sure that your theory is even consistent? Well, again, the whole point of the consistency is the fact that I started with a theory of gravity, that it gave me time dilation, then it gave me magnetism, and then it gave me a theory of light that explains redshift and all the rest of that shit much better. So, you tell me, there's not some kind of consistency in that? That doesn't give it any kind of credibility, the fact that all of a sudden it explains all these other things, you stupid shit. Oh, man. I'm going to keep deleting these just because this is rude. Like I said, I asked you politely enough to make all your comments in one comment. You don't want to do that? Okay, fuck you. The whole point of having a unified field theory is to be consistent with all the existing math. And again, where is the inconsistency except my claim that double slit math is bullshit when you put Huygens in it? That's fake math. And then and that Einstein's math can't be applied to low density galaxies. It's ludicrous to apply Einstein's lensing theory to low-density galaxies. They're not even close to what Einstein described as possible. But you have nowhere indicated that your current theory is indeed consistent with the existing math. Well, again, I have. I pointed out that it fits all of the basic equations of first the inverse square rule for gravity, and it's certainly consistent with all the math that has to do with the fields created in magnetism. I mean, certainly I can write a book and show all of that, but I'm just saying that's not the purpose of this. Well, again, that wasn't Einstein's obligation. You have to show mathematically that your theory in fact consistent. No, I don't have to do any such goddamn thing. I really don't. I just have to claim that it is. I'm claiming it is. There's no violation of any current existing theory of relationship. I have to some extent explained the in video anyway. But again, I'm not going to write a book. You think the paper should be a book? Well, I don't think it should be a book. I don't think it needs to be a book to say what it needs to say. Just as Einstein did by showing that Newton's results on, say, kinetic energy is a first-term approximation of the Einsteinian picture. Well, again, Einstein published more than one document, and some of them he published revisions to. So what part are we counting here? Well, you're going to apply this standard. Okay, I've been working on this for 3 years. I basically consolidated this theory maybe a couple of months ago, and you're saying that it should be as rich and deep as if I've been spending 10 years working on it. Well, it's not. You're just such a cunt. But you have nowhere done this. Well, again, I've done as much as Einstein did in his fucking papers were 2 pages long, douchebag. And they're wrong, which is the funny part. I mean, I keep referencing Einstein as if he's an example. He's an example of somebody who got it wrong, completely wrong, unfortunately. Simply claiming that my theory unifies gravity and magnetism instead does not make the unification at all actual or consistent. Well, again, it does unless you can find something real to complain about. So again, until you point out how it isn't consistent, I have every right to complain, to state it's consistent. So show me the experiment that says it's not, doesn't work. Show me anything that says it can't be that way. Anything. How does your theory do this? Well, again, it does it by pointing out that you can simply describe the relationship between velocity and time dilation. Yes, the relationship is rock solid. And again, I'm just saying that my calculations of time dilation, I think, are going to be more accurate because I think they're inaccurately accounting for the total velocity of an object because they're not including both vectors of velocity. So when they calculate the Earth's speed, they're not calculating it correctly because they're doing the circle thing, and the Earth isn't moving as a circle. Technically, the mass isn't. The mass is not moving that path. The mass is doing the staircase thing. It's leasing its way through space, and it's that those calculations are inaccurate. I mean, unfortunately, when you have inaccurate calculations throughout their entire math, they probably add up in the end because they've miscalculated everything, the same percentage. So, you know, all of their percentages are going to be off by the same percentage, so maybe their math works out, but it only does so accidentally because they're making the same error in every calculation. But I haven't done the math yet to know that. This is a recurring issue with you. Now, fuck you. No such verification has been in your paper. Again, I don't have to provide it. You say I have to provide a mathematical model. I'm providing a mechanical model, you dumb fuck. Just like Einstein provided a mechanical model. Okay, it's a silly mechanical model made out of a fake dimension, but the point is it's a fucking mechanical model, you dumbass. Einstein didn't have evidence of bent space, but his theory was able to predict and explain phenomena that Newton's theory couldn't. Well, again, black holes. Well, that's a little bit tricky. Black holes referenced by you in your paper? No, I'm not going to reference black holes. Time dilation is certainly something I've referenced. I have a paper written on inertia, shithead, and it'll explain time dilation. So I'm going to put that in this paper, actually. I'm not going to put the whole inertia paper in this paper, but I'm going to put the explanation of the fact that gravity is really the acquisition of velocity, and it is that acquisition of velocity that creates the gravity. Further evidence was amassed in the decades to follow. Well, again, you say further evidence, blah, blah, blah. I'm saying the two-slit experiment is certainly not further evidence of any wave crap. I'm saying, just like Einstein, there's no spooky action at a distance. And I'm saying quite overtly that Einstein would not agree that you can have gravitational lensing in the far out reaches of the arms of a fucking galaxy, especially a galaxy this way. Don't you understand? The galaxy this way is thin, very, very thin, and the light would travel through it very, very fast. It would only be in the gravity for a very short period of time. You can't understand that? And it can't possibly have the effect of deflecting the light unless it's incredibly intense gravity. And if it was incredibly intense gravity, the fucking galaxy would be spinning at an incredibly fast speed. Idiot. Anyway. Predicted and explained phenomena theory, blah, 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 blah. Time dilation, even predicted by Newton, but predicted by Einstein and later evidenced. Well, again, I'm predicting time dilation. My theory predicts time dilation. It's not time dilation, you dumb fuck. It's metabolism suppression. So it doesn't know time isn't dilated. You go into cryogenics. Your matter slows down because you have velocity. So it can't possibly be doing what it was doing before because it has to do something else. Duh. Further evidence was amassed in the decades to follow, and now the body of verification is quite extensive. Well, again, you're saying it's quite extensive. I'm saying I've looked at all these 40, 50, 60 lensing images. They're all crack shit insane. They have nothing to do with what Einstein predicted. They're just basically a preposterous lie made out of dark matter, an invented pile of fudge. And it's precisely why the Society of those dedicating their lives to understand, they're dedicating their lives to their fucking ego fucking aggrandizement, to understanding, accept it as the current best theory. How can your theory even be evidenced? Well, again, I mean, it's evidenced by the fact that it does what it's supposed to do, which is unify everything. And if it was proposed by any one of these assholes, you wouldn't be making this motherfucking cunt argument. So it's all just badge bullshit, okay? You say I'm not qualified. If Feynman had proposed it, you wouldn't be saying all this shit. You wouldn't be making these idiotic arguments. You'd be saying, shit, he did it. The phenomenon of tunneling, necessary for modern microcircuits, well, I'm sorry, that's just bullshit, is explained only by quantum mechanics. There's no such thing. It's not a shortcut. It's no faster than light bullshit. Well, look, if you're going to say that it exists, then you have to accept responsibility for it, okay? They called it tunneling as if you could get to the other side of an atomic nucleus in some sort of expedited manner, and there's no evidence you can do that. So, again, you're claiming you can go more distance than the speed of light would allow, so fuck you, it's still bullshit. But actually been evidenced hundreds, probably thousands of times over the last century. Well, I don't know what that means, so go ahead. Go ahead, have some obtuse, 5 million piece experiment and tell me it proves something. Well, go ahead. I mean, you can say it all you want. You can use the word tunneling all you want. Whatever. It's like using the word antimatter. It's not antimatter, obviously. Okay, it's not. To be antimatter, it needs to be anti-energy. There's no such thing as anti-energy, is there? Un-energy? From your paper. Perhaps you can understand that the single objects will be profoundly affected by the other object's presence. Now the straight line pressure will reach... The circumstance invents the shadow. Okay, well, that's my paper. What does this even mean? Amazing. You can't figure out that if I put two things in a pressure field that they'll end up getting pushed together, a vibrating pressure, let's say. That doesn't make sense to you. You can't figure out how that would be the end result. The things would be migrated towards each other because they're shielding each other from the pressure. I don't know. I got no help for you. I challenge anyone to distill from this any testable claim. It's gravity, you idiot. The testable claim is this is what causes gravity, and it's already been tested for the fact that it matches the inverse square rule. It's been around for 350 years as an idea of a particle gravity, except they never made it kinetic, and they never made it the essence of structure. So they never made matter out of the same thing. And once you make both things, once you know E equals mc squared, then all of a sudden this works. But I mean, I can't. All I can tell you is that Feynman would concede it matches the inverse square rule. It creates. They even use it in college classes as a cheat, as a mechanism, because it works so well. It so well describes what gravity does that they use it as an example. You dumbass. All right. Why don't you discuss this with an actual physicist? That's right, I've already emailed some. So, I mean, this whole just another piece of ridicule from another cunt. Okay, I'm going to finally just block you, okay, because I'm really just sick of here. There's just no point. So, hide this user's comment. So, yeah, fuck you. I'm done with this crap. So anyway, so I've emailed a few different, Brian Greene. I'm not going to give names, but I've emailed these people. I've got nothing back. I've emailed a couple of lunatics and got nothing. I've gotten they just argue their bullshit. They just say it's rope, it's rope, it's rope, it's rope. They don't. No, they're totally uninterested. I obviously had contact with the Miles Mathis guy. Nothing. Just. Oh no, I'm not interested. Thanks. Goodbye. So, you know, there's no, yeah, it's hard to come up with a conversation, but I've got a couple of email addresses for a couple of physicists who really don't like all of this dark matter talk, so I'll see if one of those is willing to do some, to play with it. So anyway, I'm not talking about abstractions, I'm talking about reality. However, the first illustration in your paper is a drawing of arrows in space. Yeah, that's right, because that's how simple it is, you retard. There are things moving the speed of light forever, and they bang into each other. That's how simple the whole fucking universe is, you stupid fucking cunt. Anyway, and by this you mean something equivalent to a vector field. Fine, yes, until you say something stupid. Though any rigorous definition is solely lacking. Again, how do I rigorously define something I'm saying is this fucking simple? The stupid shit just goes the speed of light, it bangs into something, kinetically exchanges direction with that thing, okay? The thing it hit, it takes its direction, the thing that got hit takes the other guy's direction, and that's it. That's the nature of the universe's function. I've Occam razored it down to almost fucking nothing, but I'm saying that's enough of a something to create the evolution of the universe, because once you have that field pressure, then you have orbits, and with orbits, game on. You talk about more arrows pointing in this direction, etc., which is completely inadequate as you phrase it. Again, how is it inadequate? I say it's a random field. The only time you see anything in the field is when there's an imbalance created somehow, and imbalance is created by absorbing arrows, and the only thing that can absorb arrows are these orbitals. Gee, this is really too complicated, huh? But can be made precise using vector fields. Well, again, I don't have any interest in using any mathematical canard to describe it. So yes, it will be necessary to use mathematics when I create a physical model of actual little things in a field. I plan on doing that eventually, creating a web page that has little bits, lots and lots of little bits, behaving by these simple fucking rules, and the model will demonstrate the universe to you, fuckhead. Obnoxious, rude. Perhaps early 20th century equipment on solar gravitational lensing is incorrect. Well, so he's conceding the first experiment sucked. However, there have been many repetitions of Addington's 1919 experiment, most notably in 1952 by Geiger's Observatory astronomers. Okay, well, I'd like to find that one. And in 1973 by UT. Well, this was a really dumb one to link to, because if you actually read the paper, they basically failed catastrophically. So their image of what they should have on their photographic plates is, say, 1,000 stars, and they ended up with 100. No, I think it was 10,000. The expectation would be 10,000 stars in the field, and they only had 150. That's how bad the conditions were. It's a total. Then their plates weren't at the same focal length, so all their control slides are shit, because the plates were in a different position. It's a complete description of failure, you stupid cunt. So yes, in a sense, they repeated the experiment by failing just as badly as the first experiment failed. So hardly a good thing to link to, retard. So bravo for not reading the goddamn paper you link to, because it's a paper describing failure. Asshole. Okay. Yeah, so we'll just delete the rest of these comments here, because these are just two assholes, quite obviously. Whoops. Didn't mean to take out anti-Gaia, but, you know, shit happens, buddy. Yeah. Let's see. No disrespect or anything, but I believe that it's all possibly interesting experiments with a $100 laser have already been done over and over again. Again, I don't think, go show me the interesting experiments that have been done with a $100 pinpoint laser. So you're saying there's lots of experiments that have been done with lasers that have a focal point the size of a period. I'm saying these lasers are only used in certain industrial purposes, and frankly, there aren't a whole lot of experiments that have been done with them, and I think quite obviously there needs to be, so yes. So I don't think I needed 10,000. So here we go. To make new discovery, you would need at least a $10,000 laser. I don't think I do. I think there's probably a $100 laser. I mean, frankly, I mean, a regular laser pointer is $5. So I mean, I should be able to get a laser pointer with a fine, tiny point for $100. I don't think I should have to spend $10,000 for that. I doubt the United States government is giving you that much money. So rude. So goodbye to you. Thank you very much. Alright, I don't know if I already did this. How dare you presume yourself more informed? How dare you? You can't do this simple thing of presuming for a second that maybe somebody else is right about something before you presume yourself smarter than them. I should maybe blah, blah, blah. This is all my, you know. So he calls this hypocrisy. Let's see, evidence. You need to apply these words to yourself. The hypocrisy is astounding. How exactly am I being a hypocrite? Am I presuming myself smarter than somebody? Am I presuming nobody else can have an opinion that's worth listening to? No, I'm not doing any of that. I'm playing other people's arguments and explaining why their arguments are incorrect. I play the Feynman videos, I play lectures, I play this stuff, and I explain why what they're saying is wrong. How am I the hypocrite? You know, in terms of you presuming you are essentially smarter than Einstein, again, this isn't about being smarter. It's kind of just about not being duped or something. I don't know how, you know, what's the point? I mean, I'm not the one sitting here saying I'm smarter. I'm just saying clearly they fucked up. They missed. You want to just pretend they hit home runs when they struck out? Okay, go ahead and pretend. That's my fault? No, it's not my fault. It's not my fault that physicists are calling, you know, these crappy images of galaxies lensing gravitational lensing. Is it my fault they're saying something the evidence can't possibly be validated as saying? Can't possibly be a reasonable theory? No, it's not my fault. A single piece of evidence. Well, again, the evidence is, yes, I mean the single piece of, what do you want me to do? I'm telling you logically, if you can't understand that a flat galaxy, okay, this way, can't possibly lens way out here because there can't possibly be enough gravity there. That's just a fact. I can't help it if you don't understand the facts of these basic mechanics, that there's no way that gravity could be that strong out there, or the galaxy would be spinning as fast as a bicycle wheel, and it's not. The evidence makes your theory valid. Not just that, but outright dismissing mountains of evidence. Well, again, how am I outright dismissing? I'm going through to extensive lengths to explain two-slit phenomenon. I'm going to extensive lengths pointing out how gravitational lensing can't do what they're saying it's doing. Again, how am I outright dismissing it? I mean, you're just such a liar. Yeah, false accusationer. I don't know if I've ever witnessed such hypocrisy. Well, again, you know, it's a gross slander to call me a hypocrite based on that argument, that I somehow have outright dismissed without making extensive efforts to explain why they've made a mistake. And all I'm asking you to do is to say, how did I make a mistake in that analysis? How am I incorrect in establishing that there isn't 70 meters per second gravity out in the arm of a galaxy? That strength of gravity can't exist there. It's not possible for it to have existed there. The galaxy couldn't look the way it looks if it existed there. All right. Not just that, but outright dismissing mountains of evidence, proving general relativity, etc., etc. Well, again, mountains of evidence, that's your claim. So you claim the evidence is beyond reasonable contention. It's just the truth. We can establish that anybody who doesn't believe your evidence of gravitational lensing is a lying son of a bitch, a fool, a religious fucktard. There's no rational reason to be at all skeptical. Even, no one can doubt Huygens, and nobody can doubt the dark matter. Of course, it's a perfectly reasonable thing to expect the universe has non-matter in it that has gravity. Yes, that's a perfectly reasonable thing. Of course, there's there's all kinds of different matter that we don't know anything about. It does all kinds of special and magical things. And that's reasonable, god damn it. And multiverses is reasonable, and magical Copenhagen waves are all reasonable. That's all reasonable shit. Fuck you. I don't know if I've ever witnessed such hypocrisy on the level of crackpot before. Video after video. Used to be somewhat reasonable. This is just fucking sad, man. No, you're fucking pitiful, fucker. Alright. So, let's see. It would be easy to provide some evidence for relativity then. Why don't you do that, please? Let's see. I get it now. I took a few comments, but I've grasped what this place has become. I'm in crazy land. When I used to post and watch amendment videos, comments used to make some rudimentary sense. So again, when this guy's asked to justify his excessive rhetoric, you know, nothing. So, yeah. That's the bottom line. He'll just make accusations. He won't defend them with evidence or quotes or anything like that. Again, just take quotes out of my document and point out where this is an outrageously unreasonable statement to make. It's not possible. I'm explaining that it's not possible to have gravitational lensing in the arm of a galaxy. The lens can't exist there. Einstein would not say a lens could exist there. Einstein said a lens could exist right next on the surface of a dense sun. A sun that's made out of hydrogen, at least. Galaxies are made out of space. Mostly. Galaxies are mostly space, retard. They weigh a lot less than hydrogen. They have an atomic weight a lot less than hydrogen. You can't understand how they can't possibly have 70 meters per second gravity out in their arms. Alright, oh, enough. I've been over it so many times. You're just a fucking cunt and an asshole. A naysayer. Clock stopper. Alright, so that's enough. So anyway, I am going to read this and make a video just to make it clear what this stuff does say. And I will add right in here a section on acceleration and velocity and time dilation. And yeah, then I'll write my conclusion. Finish it anyway. So another week maybe, and then I'll be done. I really just, I don't, you know, the writing is going slowly. I really hate writing it. You have to get, you know, it's just, you don't want to go on, so you want to try to do it really concise, and then it's like, you know, needs more, needs less, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's really difficult. Anyway, technical writing, don't really like it much. So, till next time, and such. I think that's enough.